Hi, this is another tutorial for EMAT 7080 Spring 2012. I'm going to show you some of the tools that you'll be using in the class. This is just a brief introduction of everything that you can construct and the things you can do with GSP. And remember, you can pause the video at any time to try what I'm showing you here. First off, if you're on a Mac, you might not see this toolbar on the left hand side here, so you can hopefully change that by, okay, let me make a new sketch first. Let me first get a new sketch, yes, and then I can go to display, and show toolbox should be there if you can't see your toolbox. So now I'm hiding it, display, show it. We're going to look at the options you have for construction. At the moment I have no options because I have not selected anything in my sketch. Options only become possible depending on what you select. So if I draw 2 points, if I plot 2 points, and I want to go to this, I want to select both those points. There we go, select both. Let's see what options I have under construction. I can construct a segment, a ray, a line, and a circle by a center and point. Let's go for a circle. That's what it looks like, and I can still manipulate it and move it around. Let me draw 2 points again. And instead of going to click on this arrow, I'm just going to press escape, and I have the selection tool. Select both and construct a line. There you go. On this line I want to place a point, and now notice that I have deselected everything else by pressing anywhere in the white space. Everything has been deselected, and I select the line only. And now if I go to construct, I have the option of point on line. This creates a point on the line, and this point belongs to the line, so it can move along it. What's even nicer about this is I can create an action button under the edit menu, and I can say I want an animation, and I would like this point to move forward, and I would like it to do so slowly. And here's my button, but I would like to customize this button. I want it over here, and I wanted to say something different, so I'm going to edit, properties, and I'm going to label it as go. And now hopefully when I press this button, there we go, the point starts to move. And if I press the button again, the point stops. So that is a very nice tool in GSP that you can use. Also remember, very important is the text box. If you click on this A and you select an area like so, then you can type, sorry, let me just make the text black, and let me go for this font. I want it to Homer font 18, black, and this is my text, and there I have some text. I can change this to maybe a different size or a different color, and let's say I would like to put that inside a square root, and I would like to put that on top of a fraction over x, and to that I would like to add pi, which equals theta. Then you can, whatever you need to do, you can use these mathematical symbols, let's say to the power of n there. So you've got some really nice functionality for your toolboxes, and try to make use of this. It's a very nice and easy way to do some complex symbols in mathematics on an interface like this. Right, so that was quite important. This is very important. This will help you in your assignments. Let's make a new sketch, but I want all of this in one file, but I want several different pages, and for that I go to File and Document Options. When I click on Document Options under File, this will refer to this file, a bunch of sketches, as one file or one document. There we go. At the moment we only have one page or one area that you can do a sketch in. I would like to add a new one, and I don't want it to duplicate one. I want it to be a blank page, and I would like to call this page 3. Right. Now I can go back to the first page by clicking on that tab, and I can start on my third page. This will be necessary when you want to show progression in your assignments, and you might want to use 5 or 10 or 20 pages to communicate the steps that you take. Also very helpful. So let's do another one, a graph, which you might make use of. If you go to graph, you say show grid. There you have an axis system, and you have 2 points, and I can manipulate this point, dragging it over here, and if I manipulate this point, I adjust the scale. I adjust the scale of my sketch. I don't like this this grid in the background, so I'm going to click on it. I just have to find the very intersection of any 2 of these lines on the grid and click it. It highlights the whole grid, and I say Control H to hide it. I can either say edit, display, hide coordinate system, or I can just say Control H. And there you go. Right, some other useful tools. I'm going to show you how to load tools as well in another tutorial, but hopefully you will have the appearance tools in your toolbox. If you don't, just watch the other tutorial on how to import tools into GSP. That's how I would like a closed arrowhead, and I would like it to run from the origin to roughly 4. Then I have my arrow. So this gives me a nice, it looks like a vector. Okay. Other things that I can do, let's say I'm going to draw a segment right over here, and I want to reflect this arrow in that line. Now let's do something else. Let's do something more interesting. I want to reflect this circle in this segment. Okay, so let me select the segment, and I'd say transform, mark mirror. See it mark the mirror. Another way of marking the mirror is double clicking the line, and then I could select the circle and say transform and reflect. Hopefully, there we go, you get a nice reflection. And because it's its reflection, if I move this image, if I move this object, its image will also move accordingly. Right, let's see what else we've got under transformations. I can also do a translation. For instance, let me make an object like this. Let's do a little triangle, and I would like to move this triangle. Select the whole thing and translate, and I would like to translate it by 2 centimeters rectangular coordinates, horizontally 2 centimeters and vertically 0 centimeters. Translate, and there's your translation. And now if I move this point, the other one moves as well. So there's your translation. Again, this is the image, so it is dependent on its on its initial object. Let's see what other transformations we've got. Dilations, we did reflection. We can also do rotation. Let me rotate this object, transform, rotate. And what was important here was when I said rotate, it automatically went for the origin. So if I want to rotate around something else, I have to select it first. Right, let's rotate by 285 degrees. Rotate. There we go. And now, because there we go, all 3 of them are still synced. And if I want to rotate this circle around this point, then I can double click this point, and now that will be the origin. That will be the origin for the rotation. And let's say transform, rotate by 1 degree, 5 degrees, 10 degrees. Notice what happens to where the image will be. 20, 200. I'm happy with 200. Let's do that. And if I move the origin, That moves the rotation as well. Isn't that nice? Right. Now we've done some of the transformations. Another one might be if I plot the point on this axis or over here, I can measure that point. I can measure its coordinates. I can measure its abscissa, which in this case is 7.4. I can measure its you see, I did not have the measurement option because this was selected as well. I can only select the point. So let me click in white space to deselect everything, click on the point and say measure ordinate, and there you go. Ordinate is 3.23 and your abscissa 7.414, which is dynamic as well. If you change the point, the coordinates will change as well. Let's say I would like this point to be called point A. I can just click on it. Oh, and it says D. I don't want that, so let me double click on D and make it A. There you go. And let's say I would like to translate A by its distance from the origin. So I basically want 2 times A. Let me measure that. Measure the abscissa, which is 4.52, and I would like to move it. So I wanted to move the distance from the origin, so I'm clicking on the origin, to A. Well, let's say to the end of this vector. And mark vector. See, it just marked the vector. Now I select A and say translate by the vector, which goes from point A to point E. This is point A. Oh, this is going to be point E. Sorry. There you go. Now A is transformed by this vector. Right. There you go. Alright, that's a basic introduction to a lot of the tools that you will be making use of. I want to show you some things that are available on the GSP website as well, just to kind of get you thinking and leave you with some exercises. Right. I'm not going to save these changes. Let me open up the linkage library. This is some quite advanced work that you can get on the site. This is a sewing machine linkage using animation and well, a lot of the tools that I've been showing you. And I'd like to see the model as well. This button, instead of just this button start stop does movement, this button does hide show, which is also an action button. You can get edit action buttons, hide show. Right. So if I click show model, here you have the abstracted model of what's going on, and I can dynamically manipulate my model as well. Right. Here's a windshield wiper. This effect is called tracing. It's tracing that point, and you can do that by display erase traces. Here you can say trace. By selecting something and saying trace, then it will trace that object. So in this case, let me just stop this. This line was selected and they said trace segments. Here it is selected there. Let's see the model. There you go. Here's another one, also tracing. And some cams. Let's see. This is measuring the profile. How about we make this cam nice and smooth? There you go. Let me move it a little bit. Alright. And the last page is for the authors. So there you go. the exercise I'd like to give you is set up a normal grid like this, and then think about how would you represent, oh, I said delete, that was a mistake. How would you represent something like I don't want green, let's make it black. Something like a plus 5 is equal to 10 perhaps. Let's make it easier. Yes, let's do that. How would you represent a as a variable and add 5 units to that? So that might be an exercise for you. Right, that's it for this lesson. Thank you very much.